Hi, Mom. I'm standing at the furthest edge of the property, looking towards the house. So Dwight and Deb's land would be up a little bit further. I'll show you where the boundary lines are. But I am at the furthest edge of what our property would be. So I'm just kind of came out just to show you the width. Um, right here is the road. There's a car coming, so I'm going to kind of let it come by so you can see. There's a house across the street. There's the car. So that's, kind of in the middle of where we would be. I'm just panning around. So this is our boundary. There's a house next door. That's kind of a bigger, sort of colonial. And then this is our property boundary right there. And then there's woods, as you can see. And then this is the clearing right here. Pretty cute little house across the street, ranch. Kind of through there. I'll see if I can zoom it in. I don't know. Is a little cute little house. Hold on a sec, I gotta put my paper down. Okay, I'm gonna try to zoom in. If you look up the way here, there's a marker, there's a little pink stick right there in the kind of the center of the field. That would be our boundary. There's another pink marker there. That would be Deb and Dwight's. I'm pretty sure about this, I'm guessing, but this is what I'm assuming. And then beyond that is that house, and that's the owner. So it is kind of like there's a wider swath slightly, and then it narrows a little bit down here, but it seems like it's it's not too narrow, it's just a pretty little swath. So you've got woods in the back, but not too dense. I mean, there's some clearing out there. It looks like it'd be fun to explore. And then there's sort of a strip of trees here, and you can see what the edge of the road is there. I'm just gonna try to look around. I don't know if you can hear that, but that is traffic sound, just full disclosure. I can tell there's a highway out there, but we hear the highway on Route 7 too, I suppose. So, but this is, of course, much more steady highway. But it's not obnoxious. It actually took me a minute to register that that's what it was. So I just kind of wanted to take a picture. I'm going to walk up a little bit. There's the cute little house across the street. I'm going to pace off the width of this. Here's a little pink boundary marker because I want to get a sense of how wide it is. One, about 18 feet between the tree lines here. This is a little bit narrower, I think. I think it actually gets a little bit wider up here. I'm just kind of walking. Technically I'm trespassing, but I figure if they want to sell this property, then they should welcome trespassers. There's that cute little house across the way. Ooh, I got out here just in time. It's starting to spit rain just a little bit. So this is, you can see it's kind of open back there, and it looks like that's where the stone wall is. There's actually a little bit of barbed wire fence right there. Oh, it's way back there. There's the stone wall way back there. Kind of, hold on. Kind of, where's my finger? The stone wall is right there. So there's a little bit of openness there. And then there's a stone wall here. So I'm not sure which is which. I'm not going to go tromping back there, but it looks like there's a little bit of stone stacked back there. Maybe it was an old one. So I'm not sure which one's on the marker, but it looks like there's a little bit of, I'm just walking towards this. Hopefully nobody comes out after me. Yeah, there's a little bit of wetland here I can see, but it's just kind of, I don't know if it would technically be called a brook or not, but a little bit of wetland, that's okay. There's a stone wall back there. So I'm not sure how far back the 6 acres go. Like I said, right about there is where the stone wall is, and this in here is like just a little bit of wetland. It's just soggy. But we're up from that, so that's not a problem. No wet cellars, or we won't have a cellar, but this is the stone wall. So as you can see, it's not too dense out back there. I think it would be really nice for tromping around. I could go build a fort. That's the edge of the road, right? Like where that white is the road. That's the house that's up the road. That's the house right across the street. So we'd have to decide where to put the driveway. Some big, beautiful trees, you know. I mean, that would be one consideration I think I would have is, you know, would we want to take tree limbs down? So in an ice storm, it doesn't destroy the house. I'm walking towards, that's the pink boundary marker. So I'm assuming, my assumption, some tracks here, either dog or deer or something, that this is our other boundary if we were to get this. So this is kind of nice. It opens up. That's the neighbors. This, between here, between this marker and that marker right there, kind of faintly there, right there, I'm assuming would be Dwight and Deb's property. So that's what they meant when they said it's slightly more open. So this just kind of opens up here, you know, a little bit in terms of the skyline and so forth. But there's still trees back here. So this would be our boundary right here. Looking back. And looking back to, there's the marker. Try to find my finger. Darn it. Okay, the marker's like right around in there. So yeah, it's a nice piece of property. Very pretty. It's a pretty road. Up the road is some pretty countryside. I think we'd need to talk to him about where to site the house in terms of these humongoid trees. They're gorgeous trees, so I love them. But, you know, would we want all these branches dangling out over a house? So that's a question I would have to ask him. And, you know, would that be another huge cost? Just making sure I have my... So I'm going to... This is kind of the wider end. So this is kind of where the boundary is on the trees. I'm going to paste this out. So we're hitting 40 right around here, and obviously, but that's, you know, that's about a 40-foot span out there. So this is actually the wider end, and probably we'd want to put the house up this end, I'm thinking, because it's slightly wider. But again, we would just need to talk to him about what on earth to do with those trees. I would love to keep them, of course. I'm just worried about the branches if they're, you know, if there's the potential for those branches to fall on the roof. They get a lot of ice storms sometimes. So that's a question. I'll ask him. And then again, right here, it's kind of this log there. There's the house across the street, one there. So you'd have people to look at. And then again, right here, I'm standing at the boundary of what would be Dwight and Deb's land. And that's the other boundary, I am assuming. So you can kind of see that there's this, you know, this is the wider end. So theirs is probably about 40 feet wide or thereabouts in it too. So that's it. It's very nice. I'm going to cut up through here. What I'm not sure of is how far back. I don't know what I do with my map. I'm going to get my map out and see if I can get a sense of where I'm at. I had to stuff it in my pocket. I should have brought yours. Let's see. So this stone wall right in front of me is what I assume is the stone wall on the map. And that is probably about not even a third. I mean, it's almost a quarter of the way in. So I would say the land goes back like this 40 feet plus another, you know, 2 or 3 times more behind here of that. So, you know, way, way back there. So there's tons of land. The reason I got quiet is because I wanted to see if you could hear the traffic noise, just so you get a sense of it. Honestly, I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, it took me a while to tune into it, and I think, you know, it's a beautiful piece of property, so to me that's not a deal breaker. All right, I'm just going to take one last look because I don't want to get nailed for trespassing here. So it's very pretty. I like it, I have to say. It's a pretty little drive. As you can see, there's this swath of trees right along the edge of the road, so that actually gives you some privacy from the road. And then I'm sure at some point, someplace along the way, we would, you know, have to take some down. So I have to ask him if that's included in the cost or if that's extra. I don't know what site work entails. So I am actually going to cut through, I think. I can find a way to cut through. Let me say, I'll go over here. Ah, feels good to be outside. Again, there's that house over there. Oh, here. Some little tracks in here too. Rabbit or something. There's plenty of potential for nice wildlife and so forth. Look at this old tree falling down. It reminds me of the one we had on Wildwood Road. Oh God, now I'm gonna have to try to climb up here. Hang on a sec. I'll keep this going. Just a slight rise up here. And this is the sign for Dwight and Deb's property. That's my car up there in the driveway. That's the other house driveway. So this would be Dwight and Deb's property here. Just taking a picture of that. And this pink, I'm walking up towards the boundary of what would be Dwight and Deb's property. There's those pink right there. Pink flags. That would be their boundary. Right there. And then I assume beyond here is the house. It's very pretty. I mean, nice. Seems like a very pretty place. This is the house across the street from Dwight and Deb. That house over there is across from us. Ooh, beat out old car. Well, it's a nice house. So anyway, that's it. There's a car coming, just give you a sense. And that's up the road. We're kind of climbing. That's the lot sign for this, and then they're selling the house, obviously, so somebody will move in there. But you can see it kind of goes uphill from here, which makes sense because that other division that I was telling you about is up the road that way. But yeah, this goes downhill slightly, not hugely. So there is a little bit of slant to the land. Okay, I'm going to shut it off.